Good evening. Thank you for being here tonight. My name is Beatrice Aslamboli. I'm with CV Strategies, and we've been hired by the City of Coachella to lead the presentation this evening. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge something important. I know that many people in this room are frustrated. I know that there are concerns, questions, and emotions surrounding this topic. I also know many people feel like they didn't receive enough information early on in the process related to the city creating its own electric utility. So tonight is about slowing things down, sharing the facts, explaining what has happened, what has not happened, and helping the community better understand where things stand today. I was asked to facilitate this meeting because my firm has worked with the City of Coachella for more than a decade in community outreach efforts, public education programs, neighborhood communications, city initiatives, branding. I have been up in front of the community for things like TCC grant outreach, the TOT taxes. We do all of the neighborhood notification postcards. What I'm trying to really say is we know this community and we care about this community. I'm also not here tonight to convince you of anything. I'm here to walk you through the facts, explain the planning process, and help create a respectful space for questions and answers. So before we continue, please treat one another respectfully. Please hold your questions until the Q&A portion. We will not tolerate disruption, yelling over speakers, or any personal attacks. If there is disruption, I'll issue a warning. If it continues, we may ask that individual to leave. And if the meeting cannot continue safely and respectfully, I do have the authority to end the meeting. However, I truly hope we don't make it to that, because I want to stay here until 8 o'clock and hear as many questions and concerns as possible. I want to address one more important procedural item before we continue tonight. Some members of City Council may be present in the audience this evening, but because tonight is a community town hall and not an officially noticed meeting, Council members who are present are attending as private citizens and observers only. Under California's Brown Act, they're not permitted to engage in discussion, answer questions, deliberate, or participate in a dialogue regarding any city business outside of a properly noticed meeting. So out of respect for state law and to ensure compliance with the Brown Act, Council members who may be present here tonight will not be responding to questions or participating in the discussion. Questions tonight instead will be addressed by city staff, legal counsel, consultants, and project representatives as appropriate. I know some community members may want direct responses from elected officials tonight, and I understand that. But it's important that the city follows the legal process correctly and transparently. There will be future publicly noticed meetings where City Council members can legally participate, deliberate, and hear and comment on your comments. So I thank you for your understanding and helping us keep tonight's meeting productive and compliant by state law. Also, I want to remind everyone that we do have Spanish interpretation available tonight. So if you need a headset and did not already receive one, please raise your hand and someone will assist you. We have headsets in the back. So thank you, and let's start our presentation. All right. Again, my name is Beatrice Aslamboli. I'm with CV Strategies, and I will be tonight's facilitator and moderator. I'm now going to invite our city representatives and development team representatives to briefly introduce themselves. I'll start on this side with the city.
I'm Partner with Best and Krieger, and we are the city attorney for the city of Coachella.
So I'm going to consider this. I'm going to consider this the first warning then. This is. Your neighbors and community are asking you to be quiet. Yes. Yes, ma'am, it is. All right, now I'd like to go back to introductions.
My name is Ryan Barron. I'm also with the City Attorney's Office with Best and Krieger. Can you hear me now? My name is Ryan Barron. I'm also with the City Attorney's Office with Best and Krieger. That's the city staff, utilities.
Gabriel Gonzalez, interim city manager.
There. Ryan, do you want to introduce yourself as well? I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I'm going to have to. You were warned. You were warned. Thank you. We'll take a 5-minute recess while security and while the sheriff escorts her out. Yes, the whole crew. We're going to continue the meeting that the other residents have joined us for, so please allow your neighbors to hear the meeting.
Good evening. I'm Alex Rodriguez.
Hello, I'm Daniel Rasmussen of Stronghold.
Go ahead, just stand up and say your name. All right. So let's move on to why we're here tonight. All right. I'm here to share clear factual information and the timelines, to explain what has been approved and what has not, and to answer questions. This meeting is not for approvals or decision-making. Tonight, part of our goal is to help clarify where the process currently stands. What we're going to walk through is what actions the city has taken, what those actions mean, and what steps still would need to happen before any future project could move forward with the formal process. So as of today, no data center project has been approved. No environmental. No environmental impact report has been completed and certified yet, and no project application has been approved by Planning Commission or City Council. And I'm going to explain that process tonight. So one of the biggest issues facing the Eastern Coachella Valley is power. And all of the Eastern Coachella Valley cities that are serviced by IID, including La Quinta and Indio, have been facing challenges of bringing power to their communities. And for years, the city of Coachella has been studying how to bring additional power infrastructure to Eastern Coachella. This conversation did not begin 6 months ago. It has been discussed and studied for over a decade. The city of Coachella has been looking for a long-term power solution because reliable infrastructure is necessary if the city wants to continue to grow and attract investment, support jobs, provide services for future residents and businesses. So tonight is really about understanding where the city is in that long-term planning process and what steps would still need to happen before any projects need to move forward. Okay. Back in 2015, the city identified Eastern Coachella as an area for future growth. The city worked with experts to evaluate the infrastructure needs and conduct feasibility studies. A feasibility study is basically research and analysis that's used to help guide planning and decision-making before any actual project approvals happen. So it evaluates questions like, what would it cost? How would it work? Who would pay for it? What infrastructure would they need? And would it make sense for the city long-term? So one of the challenges the city identified was that expanding the existing electrical infrastructure through IID and traditional methods would be extremely expensive. Again, this conversation's been going on for many years. So why a public-private partnership? You may hear the term P3, which stands for public-private partnership. A P3 is structured under California law where a private company helps finance and build public infrastructure. The reason cities sometimes use this model is because infrastructure is really expensive. And in this case, the city explored a structure where a private investment would help fund the infrastructure instead of requiring the city taxpayer funding upfront, and the city would ultimately own the electrical infrastructure and municipal utility system that's being built, without the city having to fund upfront construction costs. Under the development agreement, the infrastructure constructed through this partnership would eventually become city-owned community asset over time. So, the important thing here is this agreement created a framework for infrastructure planning. It did not approve a data center. Okay, I'm going to walk you through the timeline because I think it's actually very important. So as we go through this, I want to point out the distinction between infrastructure planning, partner selection, and actual project approvals, because those things are very different procedurally and legally. So in 2019, the City Council approved a Coachella municipal utility. We're going to call that a CMU. And it was created so that they could support future growth in the undeveloped areas in East in East Coachella Valley for the future of Coachella. It was focused on long-term infrastructure. So they authorized the city manager to continue evaluating and developing options. So in 2024, partner selection begins. In 2020, COVID happens, right? We fall a few years behind. In 2024, partner selection begins. The city conducted all those feasibility tests and authorized a competitive selection process. It's known as an RFQ. If you want to bid a government project, you have to go through an RFQ, which was issued by the city in October of 24. And that focuses to see if these companies and developers have the qualifications to deliver a project like this. So it focused on developing the Coachella municipal utility infrastructure. And 3 developers formally submitted their qualifications. There we go. So in January of 2025, there was a request for proposals. 3 qualified developers advanced through that process. The city proposals were evaluated through a strict selection criteria through their legal team and the planning team, and the city approved the notice of intent to award to Stronghold Power Systems on May 7th, 2025. I'm going to ask that you please refrain from that. Thank you. During question and answer, I would love to hear from the community. The development agreement. The city and the development team have been working with legal counsel over the last 9 months to develop the Municipal Utility Development Agreement. This defines the roles, the responsibilities, and a framework to build electrical infrastructure for the city. Stronghold assumes all the financing and all of the development risk. The agreement supports infrastructure development for the CMU, but does not approve any projects. So on February 11th, it was taken to City Council, and City Council unanimously approved the municipal Utility Development Agreement was approved on February 11th, 2026. The development team was confirmed as the P3 development partner for Coachella's municipal utility. A framework was established for utility infrastructure and planning within that area. No specific projects have been approved during that meeting. So what was presented on February 11th? Bless you. Stronghold presented a conceptual data center development to the City Council. The data center was identified as the potential anchor customer, and this presentation was not a project proposal or an approval. So any future infrastructure or project would require a separate review and approval by City Council. So if a project moves forward, I want you to know that it still must go through environmental review, public hearings, planning commission, and City Council review. And those meetings are a formal process where specific questions could be addressed. I'm going to ask that you remain quiet so we go through the remaining slides. Thank you. So where are we today? No data centers or other developments have been approved. No project application has been submitted, and no environmental review has been completed. The city now has an agreement in place to support electrical infrastructure development and the municipal utility. Okay, that's where we are. So what happens next? If a data center project is proposed, an application will be submitted. There is a mandatory review under California Environmental Quality Act. There will be public hearings, a planning commission review, and city council decisions. So the key takeaways from tonight are that no project has been approved. The city has engaged a partner to support future projects. I'm going to ask for you to be quiet for 5 more minutes until we get to questions and answers, and then we will hear your questions. And community input is part of the process, except for that's at future meetings and hearings. So there were some commonly asked questions that I'd like to address so that we could get to other questions. So we did see some themes. In 1 minute, I will. So there are some commonly asked questions. Is the city paying for this project? The city is not financing the construction of the infrastructure for the municipal utility. Stronghold is responsible for project funding and the risk to development. The Coachella's municipal utility operations and infrastructures, the costs would be shared with city revenues. And city costs are limited only to legal and staff and project oversight. So another question that we heard is, are customers' utility rates going to go up? So the current The current residents are served by IID, and IID rates are going to be separate from the Coachella Municipal Utility. This is for future development. The municipal utility is intended to serve the new communities in the future of Coachella. And I'm going to get through the next 2 slides, and then we can go to questions and answers. I ask for 2 more minutes of your time. So there's a lot of questions about the environment, and the environmental review process would evaluate any potential impacts related to water use, air quality, noise, and climate conditions. The community questions that are related to the environmental impact report will be heard at a later date in the correct forum. Okay. I just want you to know no construction can move forward without going through CEQA and an environmental impact report. And you will. All right. You know what? I don't have real dollars on this. All right. Can you please wait until it is your turn for questions and answers? No. All right, so we're going to go to questions and answers, and I'm going to ask you guys to all do this in an orderly format, or we will not have an opportunity for questions and answers. Okay? So I hope that tonight separated some facts and assumptions. And I also want you to know that if you don't get a chance to ask a question tonight, or we simply run out of time, we do have a QR code and a survey that you are free to, that we would like for you to log in, share your responses on our community survey, share it with your friends and neighbors. We will be sharing that with the city. So in order to hear from as many residents as possible, what I'm going to ask is, I'm going to explain how this part's going to work. We have microphones on both aisles, and I have Olga over there in the pink and Jude over there in the black. Okay, if you would like to ask a question, you can line up at the microphone, say your name and what city you live in. Then you can ask your question. I will direct your question to the right person on the panel to answer. Now, I ask, if you have already heard your question asked and answered, I kindly ask that you let someone else ask a different question so we can cover as many topics as possible tonight. This part of the meeting is mainly for questions and not speeches or long comments. If you would rather share your concerns, we do have the QR code. I will put that up. But tonight we have city staff, attorneys, planners, consultants, and project representatives here to answer your questions. So we want to make the best use of everyone's time, and if we could limit it to questions instead of just comments. So if you do make a comment, I'm going to respectfully ask you to keep it to 2 minutes, just so we can move forward. And we're going to go from one side to the other and hear your questions. So thank you for helping us keep this meeting respectful and productive. And we will start with the first question over there.
So you wanted my name, right?
Name and city, please.
My name is Frankie Molina, and I'm from the city of Coachella. So my question is, who specifically authorized Best and Krieger, the city's outside law firm, to begin drafting the municipal utility development agreement, and on what date did that authorization occur? Was that direction given by the city council in a public meeting or by city staff? When did Stronghold Power Systems or any representative acting on their behalf first make contact with the city of Coachella? Which city officials were contacted first, and was that initial contact documented and disclosed publicly? Campaign disclosure.
I'm going to have to stop you there, but we will get to some of your questions. That's the only way we get to everyone else's questions who's standing up. So can you ask your first question over?
Question is, who specifically authorized Best and Krieger, the city's outside law firm, to begin drafting the municipal city development agreement, and on what date did that authorization occur? Was that direction given by the city council in a public meeting or by city staff?
So the city council approved Stronghold with a notice to proceed with no negotiations with them back in May of 2025. Best and Krieger, as the city attorney, then undertook to commence negotiations with Stronghold, and for the 9 months thereafter, we negotiated the municipal utility development agreement.
Okay. Thank you. Next question.
Yeah, test. Thank you. Would you mind? My name's René Rivera. I'm a local here from Coachella. I've grown up here my whole life. I just have one specific question that I feel like everyone is curious to know In the case, which none of us want this to be built, and I'm sure everyone's gonna have a couple good questions to ask you guys, but and hypothetically, if the data center gets built, who is it gonna financially benefit the most? And who is it gonna financially benefit the least? And I don't want you guys to give us any responses like it's gonna benefit everyone. I wanna know specifically who is it gonna benefit the most and who is it gonna benefit the least?
I'm happy to take this on. We, as Stronghold, are excited about this project. We think it's a great project for the city of Coachella. I'm really happy that we live in the state of California. You know why we live in the state of California? I'm getting to the answer. The state of California, in its wisdom, enacted a statutory arrangement so that cities that want to build infrastructure like a municipal utility do not have to go out and raise and sell bonds and incur debt and tax their citizens in order to have an electrical utility. So the whole motivation behind this, and I think the city's been very wise in the way this has proceeded, is to find how the city can benefit by using the resources of private enterprise. So my answer is it's the city that's going to benefit. This is a great project.
Okay. We're going to go to question on this side of the room.
Good evening. I actually have a public comment and I want to confirm I'll have 2 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Mariela Luera and I'm actually speaking on behalf of Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability. In 2019, the city passed a resolution to create a municipal utility district, or MUD, which states that it would provide services and meet community needs and protect public health and safety. However, the city's 2024 request for qualification for a public-private agreement explicitly states that the MUD will not serve the existing community directly contradicting the resolution's original purpose. Additionally, the city's 2024 feasibility study and its recent private-public agreement makes clear that the MUD's primary purpose is to support new data centers, not the current community, and in doing so, the city fails to benefit its existing constituents as originally stated. Furthermore, the city has failed to demonstrate that the MUD and related data center development are financially or operationally viable. The agreement makes the city responsible for securing sufficient electrical load to recover those development costs, not Stronghold. Stronghold is the initial financial provider. If the city's initial plan fails, the city also proposes to serve the existing community first, only as a means to generate revenue for future MUD expansion. Yet the city has not explained how it would finance the acquisition of IID infrastructure, nor how this approach would benefit current residents. Instead, existing communities appear to be treated primarily as a financing source for future industrial development. This proposal is especially concerning given the region's existing environmental and social inequities, including poor air quality, unreliable electricity services, and limited access to safe and drinking water. You have also alluded to the data center not being approved yet, and that CEQA will be a process to address that concerns. However, as we are speaking, CEQA is being watered down. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening. My name is Yvette Zamora Cruz, and I'm a resident of Rancho Mirage. So this clearly is an issue for all residents in the Coachella Valley, not just Eastern Coachella Valley. I'm here to talk about the burrowing owl, a bird that might already be living on that 240-acre site you're considering for this data center. In October 2024, the California Fish and Game Commission unanimously voted to make the western burrow owl a candidate for protection under the California Endangered Species Act. That means it has been the same legal protections as the endangered species. This isn't a small bird with a small problem. Nearly 60% of burrowing owls colonies in California disappeared between the 80s and the early 90s. They're already a large advantage from the Coachella Valley. That agricultural land on Avenue 52 and Fillmore, open, flat, low vegetation, is exactly the habitat for these owls need to survive. Before this project moves to one step forward, I'm asking the city to require a full burrowing owl survey for that site and to ensure compliance with the state Candace species protection. For example, Oswego Land Trust built an entire reserve in Desert Hot Springs just to protect 16 acres of these owls. This project will wipe out 240 acres that could be a home for this owl that is already endangered. Please do not let us destroy the environment for these owls. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Hello, my name is Crystal Otworth, and I'm an energy policy advocate with Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability. Through this role, I have had the opportunity to engage extensively on energy governance and service issues across the Coachella Valley, and it is with this background that I'm here today to share that this proposed Municipal Utility District, or MUD, is not a solution to the very real energy challenges being faced by the city of Coachella and its neighboring unincorporated communities of Thermal, Oasis, Mecca, and North Shore. According to the resolution that authorized the city of Coachella to create the MUD, its purpose is to ensure that residents and businesses are provided with utility services that meet the current and future needs of the community. However, the proposed utility does not accomplish that goal. As currently structured, this utility will not serve residents at all. Instead, the MUD is designed entirely to support large-scale industrial development, including multiple massive data centers that will place additional strain on local and regional electrical infrastructure. At a time when residents already face concerns around rising utility costs, grid reliability, extreme heat, and limited infrastructure investment, prioritizing energy-intensive projects risks diverting resources away from community and towards private industries whose impacts are far-reaching. Data centers consume enormous amounts of electricity, which puts pressure on transmission capacity, requires costly infrastructure upgrades, and contributes to higher energy demand that can ultimately be passed on to ratepayers. This, on top of the expected water use, air pollution, and noise pollution already associated with data centers across the country. Lastly, neither the proposed MUD nor the Stronghold Agreement is needed to meet the objectives outlined in the resolution. 2 months ago, the City of Coachella approved the creation of the Coachella Electric Financing Authority, a partnership between the city and IID to support energy infrastructure investment and strengthen electrical service within the city. The Financing Authority serves as an alternative pathway to meet residential needs without the need for high energy consumers and polluting industrial facilities. Thank you.
Thank you.
You'll hold it? Okay. My name is Mindy Thielen, and I'm from Palm Desert. I second the comment from the woman before me that the entire valley is concerned about this horrible project. But I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. The first one is, we'll call your bluff. This is an altruistic, noble project. You're building electricity for the valley, for Coachella. Okay? Because of this massive growth, what has the growth rate been since 2015 of residents in Coachella?
Can't answer that, you don't know us.
This is to help with this growth rate. What is it?
We'll have to get back to you with exactly.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. My second question is regarding the environmental impact study. And hopefully there's a large health aspect to that as well, because other data centers are already, other studies have been done. What is the health impact of these data centers? Because I'm not calling your bluff. It's not to provide electricity. It's to build a data center. Thank you.
Is that the answer? Yes, they do look it up because that's exactly how it works when we want to give you exact facts. No. He is actually in charge of He is the interim city manager. He has been here for 2 months, so please. Thank you. All right. But we're getting you the information. So, who is the next question?
Hi, my name is Jeremy Rodriguez, and I live here in Coachella. And my question is, do you guys have, and that's for anybody on the panel, do you guys have any example of a data center not making the communities miserable by destroying the water table and raising electricity? Like, do you guys have, no, this is a serious question. Do you guys have any example of this actually working out the way you guys say it is?
There are examples of data centers in Las Vegas that are right next to communities, to neighborhoods. You can look those up. These are big data centers.
I'm asking you if you can name any.
Please be
Do you have an example? Can you name a city, one of them that stands out? I mean, you have to have one.
I just said Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yes. Okay.
Reno as well.
Next question, please.
My name is Araceli Hernandez. I'm from India. You mentioned earlier that you had a strict criteria to pick a company. I just want to know what that criteria was when you guys were going over in the slides.
That criteria was listed on the city website, and it's public record. I don't know that criteria right here, but it is public record listed on the city website.
And then why would you guys pick a company that had committed fraud in the past out of different companies? I don't know why you would pick this one, but that's it.
Let me answer that one. We have not committed fraud in the past.
Okay. Thank you for your questions. Next.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Humphreys. I'm a resident of Indio. May I answer the other lady's question before I ask my own? So I am a realtor, and I actually know the answer to that population question. In 2010 census, Coachella was estimated to have about 40,000 residents. It's now estimated to have about 45,000 residents. So not exactly exponential growth. So then I have a short statement before I ask my question. One, I was able to obtain some information about the proposed project online. What is being proposed, even though there hasn't been a formal application, is 4 hypercenters. So these are each data centers that are 1 million square feet. So that is the largest type of data center that can be built. There has also been an independent peer-reviewed study that has recently been published about the heat islands created by data centers. I think we can assume that because they're proposing 4 hypercenters, we'd be on the upper edge of this. So what is in this peer-reviewed journal, is that within hypercenters, within a 6.2 mile radius, so that is 120 square miles. That includes my house in Indio, it includes all the way down to Thermal and much of La Quinta. The average heat increase within that 6 mile radius is about 7 degrees. The high, which again, because we're talking about 4 hypercenters just in phase 1, they're also planning additional phases, but just in phase 1, because we're talking about 4 hypercenters, I think it's fair to assume we'd be on the higher end of what this study found. The highest they found was 16 degrees increase on average. So that would mean that today, which was 108 degrees today, that would mean that at the high of that would have been 124 degrees. The high of July last year was 119 degrees in the city of Coachella. If we had such a data center with its 4 hypercenters, and we were at the upper end of that heat island, it would have been 135 degrees last July. So that goes to my question. My question is, in one of the hottest areas in North America, how is this even being proposed?
There are two things that I would say in response to that. Number one, technology is remarkable these days. The kinds of improvements that are being done to the data center designs address the heat issue. And the second thing is, you will have complete transparency from the EIR process about if it's even a single degree. All of that will be documented and heat studies will be done.
The EIR, when it is published, has to be published and on the street for 45 days for public comments. So I'm going to move to the next question to keep our night moving.
Hi, I'm James Rodriguez. I'm here from Coachella, resident, a native, and if given the choice between public comment for 2 minutes and asking a question, I would request that I get to preface my question and each one of the panelists answers with a simple yes or a no. The question is prefaced as such. The Planning Commission, and by extension the City Council, has in the past created a statement of override for the environmental impact reports. That means that transparency was provided, but that is tantamount to a Prop 65 tag on your blanket that is made and full of cancerous materials. They've let you know, and you still bought it. So the question is, when this data center comes out with its environmental impact report, panelists, if you live in the city of Coachella as a resident, would you want your planning commission or city council to approve an override of an environmental report that states this is a dangerous project to the environment? Yes or no?
That's not a valid question, the way it's presented. It's not. It's a conclusory question to make us walk into a trap so you can make your own conclusions. The city council of the city of Coachella very much has the interests of its residents in mind. They will go through a process and they will make a determination with respect to CEQA. It would be very unusual, I repeat, it would be very unusual to have a determination of overriding consideration for a project of this type. It does not happen.
Thank you. Next question. It is not a valid question for this panel. Next question, please.
Hello? Hi, I have a comment and then I have a question. My name is Jessie. So my comment, I am looking right here at the agreement the city approved, and it says here on page 5, section K, I love that we're talking about CEQA right now, great timing. So it says, the project will be subject to compliance with city building and planning codes, provided that 1, the city will use its best efforts to expedite the planning process and the issuance of necessary building permits and approvals, and 2, the city will waive all fees for planning and building permits to the extent permitted by law. That's in your agreement that you approved, and I have one more. It says here, the city will complete CEQA review, and to the extent city approves CEQA with mitigation conditions, the city and Stronghold shall agree in writing on the schedule for satisfaction of all such conditions. So in this event that the city does not approve the project, through CEQA, then the city and Stronghold will meet and confer on changes to the project to satisfy the requirements of CEQA, and the development period would be extended to allow for agreement on changes needed for mitigation measures. So even though you're doing CEQA, you say in your agreement that you're going to approve this project no matter what. Save it. This is in the agreement. My question. I have a question. Yes or no? Was Bill Patterson, the city manager, ever working at Stronghold? Yes or no?
That's an easy one. It's a no.
Beatrice.
Hello, my name is Alejandro Cobos. I'm 19 years old.
Just really quick, I would like to address the one comment she made about the expedited permits.
Thank you.
Because I completely understand why you would think that's the data center, but it's not. The project that we refer to in the agreement is the electrical infrastructure for the municipal utility. The city agreed to expedite permits for the electrical infrastructure so that we could actually get that electrical infrastructure in place in time if development was approved. It has nothing to do with the data center. There is no expedited permits for the data center.
Thank you. Sorry, if we can go back to you.
Hello, my name is Alejandro Cobos. I'm 19 years old. I live down the street. I'm an environmentalist. I actually work with the endangered species, endangered plants, all the way up to Santa Rosa, San Jacinto, all of that. But I'm not concerned about the environment. I'm concerned about the people. And my question is, and I want every single one of you to hear this very clearly. What will the city of Coachella do and Stronghold do to compensate for the damages of our health? What will you do? Will you give us grants? Will you give us money? What are you going to do when our kids, even my children, because this is probably going to last, 30 years in your plan? What are you going to do when my children get sick because of your pollution of water, air, and noise?
We can't answer that question because we don't have an EIR yet. Okay?
Beatrice,
We do.
Alejandro, Tocayo, one of the things that thank you. One of the things that we are going to do is there's going to be an extensive environmental review process. In that environmental review process, our consultants will identify potential issues and how we can address them. The city will be able to basically say, no, you need to fix this way, right? The environmental review report, the environmental impact report will go to the city for their approval. That's the best answer that I can give you, not knowing what's going to happen 20, 30 years from now.
We have an organized way to ask questions. Please join the line. And everyone else has followed the rules, so please sit down. Next question, please.
I think I'm gonna ask this one. Campaign disclosure documents show Stronghold Power Systems contributed $4,900 to former Mayor Hernandez's campaign. He voted yes on the February 11th agreement without recusing himself. Was that contribution disclosed at the meeting? And did the city attorney advise whether it created a conflict of interest requiring recusal?
Yeah, I'm not aware of the contribution, and it wasn't discussed at the council meeting.
If that wasn't discussed, what does that mean to you now? If it wasn't discussed then, but it's being brought up now, what do you have to say about that now? Because as a city attorney, I think that's probably something you should be privy to.
May I add to that? Stronghold has been in business now. That's true.
I did answer your question. When the city council chose Stronghold to move forward as the selected candidate that was scored by the team, yes, that was the question you asked. I was not aware of that. I don't know that anyone on this, the city attorney had any idea of that. Is that even true? I mean, it's his obligation as the mayor to recuse himself if he had a conflict of interest.
Perhaps I can add that the votes were 5-0. Every vote was 5-0. It was not the mayor that decided this.
All right. I think we've spent some time on this. Let's move on to the next question.
Hi, my name is Marlene. I've lived in Coachella my whole life. I just want to throw in some estimates from basically average data centers around. So most of them in the proposed LinkedIn that I saw from Stronghold and data centers, 260 acres, which for football fans is 196 football fields, including the end zones. That's 2,409 NBA basketball courts. And just that alone, my question also is, what are you going to do with the e-waste that this facility will produce? Almost everything becomes obsolete as soon as it leaves the packages. There's a new iPhone every year. There's a new console. What are you going to do to dispose of the e-waste properly so that it doesn't end up damaging the residents? Is my first question. My second question is, where do you plan on getting the water? Most data centers have natural water to get. We don't have snowpacks. We don't have a lake nearby. You're sure as hell not going to be able to use the Salton Sea. So I also want to know where you're going to get the water. That's my two questions.
Regarding your water question, our estimates are that there will be considerably less water used on that property now than there is currently, historically.
This is something from someone on the sidelines that I'm willing to give my time as well. A data center drained 30 million gallons of water unnoticed until residents complained about the low water pressure. And also, don't forget to answer my e-waste question after that. Just for record.
Regarding the e-waste question, that is not, I'm not aware of e-waste coming out of that, so I couldn't tell you. E-waste comes from our cell phones. All of us have these cell phones, right? Comes from computers. It comes from the computers that we use at home. But going back to the water.
Okay, let's be quiet so we can hear the answer about water.
Going back to the water, again, there's historical use on that land. Agricultural use, exactly. The city council, I'm happy to talk to you guys if you guys want to listen.
All right. Please allow him to answer.
The water will come from Coachella Valley Water District. There will be a small amount of water that comes from the city. Though, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that remark. But one of the things that we need to keep in mind too is that there is going to be significant infrastructure brought into this area. The city council incorporated.
Okay. If you guys would like to listen to the answers, we have one more answer.
I wanted to address that article you mentioned because I read that article too about the 30 million gallons of water. But if you read through the entire article, what you'll see is that water was being used for construction purposes, that AI data center actually had a closed loop water system that would not require large amounts of water once built. Now, for any kind of development, whether it's a solar field or any kind of warehouse construction, all of those things require a significant amount of water during construction. And that's absolutely true. No one's going to argue otherwise.
Please allow him to finish.
But there is technology to very much reduce the amount of water that is used by data centers. And I can't speak for Stronghold as to whether they're going to use that or not, but it is there.
Because we don't have a project before us, we don't know what technology or the EIR. I'm providing you, then that's...
The technology is closed loop systems that recycle the water that's used in the system.
Okay, moving on to the next question.
Hi, my name is Brianna. I've lived here my whole life, and I really would like my kids to be able to as well. I do want to say, if you guys deep down know that this is gonna harm people, there is no shame in walking away and finding a career that helps people. This might help 1% of people. But there's always a choice. There's always a choice. But my question is, I don't know if this is the right place to ask. I'm just kind of a normal citizen who doesn't know how government works, but I'm trying to get there. Is this the right place to ask? Are you guys aware of an actual way that we as the public can, because it sounds like so far, if the Stronghold is not doing something, if the AI data center is not doing something, then it just gets reviewed, and it gets fixed and changed and it goes along in the process. I haven't heard so far that, hey, there's a way that this can actually be shut down. What can we do? Can we write letters? Voting's coming up. Can we go to more Senate meetings? Can you give me a way that as the public, we actually have a chance to stop this? Can you give me a way?
When a project is presented, it does have to go through the normal planning process, which is the EIR and CEQA process. That process allows and offers opportunities and forums for public input in the public hearings. That is the correct forum to present your information to people who can actually make a difference, which is Planning Commission and City Council. CEQA is California Environmental Qualities Act, and EIR is the Environmental Impact Report. When those things are happening, those things by state law both have public comment period written into it. So we're mandated by state law that the EIR is posted for 45 days of comments from the community. But But what we're,
Enough? I mean, just
it's
because
what the law requires and allows and that's how it works. And the city and development team will be transparent in moving that forward. It's just when that process begins and we're not there yet.
Also, if I can quote from the agreement, one of the former speakers did mention some of the CEQA language, but left out a very important component that's in section 2.7B of the agreement. And that states that the parties agree that nothing herein constitutes a commitment by the city to issue any approvals or otherwise restricts the city's ability to impose feasible mitigation measures or consider or adopt feasible alternatives, including a no project alternative. The law requires the city to do that. And so that's why it's important for the citizens to pay attention through the entire project, make their comments, and if you believe that the city did not follow what it was supposed to do in CEQA, there are legal remedies for citizens and groups to take.
what are those legal remedies if we find those? If the public comments are not enough and we still see the city's not doing what it needs to?
I am sure you have heard that many projects are delayed substantially because of CEQA litigation. That's not any secret. It happens on practically every large project there is. So that is, if you don't feel that your voices have been heard of or have been heard, and there is a legal basis for a challenge to be filed, that is a law or a remedy that California law grants you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Hi, my name is Cam. I'm from La Quinta. And my question is, why do you expect us to be silent when you're trying to kill us? Because these data centers will kill us. They will kill our children. They're going to poison our water. They're going to poison our air. They're going to displace our people. These people are murderers, and they're smiling at us when we are here saying that they're killing us. You guys are murderers. Every single one of you is a murderer. You guys are idiots. You guys have no idea what you're talking about. You guys don't even live here, and you're going to kill every single one of us in the future if this data center happens. How can you guys expect us to sit here when you guys are literally poisoning us?
Thank you for your comment. We'll go to Olga's side now. I don't believe that that's, well, you know what?
I appreciate that you have a concern. When I was a young man, I can remember having significant concern about the air I breathed and the smog that I was inhaling.
He listened to your question. You can respect.
Los Angeles, we had significant air problems in this valley all the way through Riverside when the air was being polluted and California was not shutting it down. The CEQA environmental system that was put in place is there to precisely protect the citizens like you and like me. Today, I don't have to worry about a brownout. Today, I feel very confident in the air that I breathe when I couldn't before. So what I'm telling you is the CEQA process works.
We're going to move over to the question on this side now. Thank you for your questions and comment. A, please keep a respectable tone. Thank you for your comments. Next. We're moving on to the next question. Get. Next question, please.
First of all, I'm here as a Coachella Valley resident, and I do see council members there in the back and are seeing us and seeing our opinion, seeing us speaking out, and I hope you all are listening. And this question that I will be asking, I hope it kind of speeds the process up a little bit. How can the city of Coachella end the stronghold agreement with all of you?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
How can the city of Coachella end the stronghold agreement?
End.
How can they end it with you? How?
There's a 12-month development period process where there's probably about a dozen conditions precedent that have to happen before this agreement moves forward to construction or operation. During that 12 months, we go through CEQA and all the other processes.
The CEQA process does allow for that in the developer agreement. Next question.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Salvador. I live in Palm Desert. I've lived in the Coachella Valley my entire life. So my question to the city is, across the state and the nation, we've already seen the negative effects that data centers have on the communities that they're built in, including water contamination, energy bills rising, utilities increasing, noise pollution, and more. I'm sure everyone in this room already knows and is aware about all those negative impacts. My question to the city council is, why or how would this data center be any different?
First, I did want to reiterate that we cannot have any council members speaking tonight because it is not a publicly noticed meeting. So I appreciate that, but I will redirect your question because that's a state law that per the Brown Act, we cannot have the council ask that question, but we do have city staff.
I'll weigh in again. With respect to the problems that you've mentioned with a lot of data centers that were already built, I absolutely agree with you. All you have to do is read the press, read, documentation of what was done, because people really weren't paying attention. People weren't aware yet of some of these negative impacts, and now they are. And centers are being built now with different technology. And I've talked about the closed loop, but also one of the innovative things that Stronghold has proposed with respect to both the infrastructure for the municipal utility, but which would also work with the data center, is to use fuel cells, which produce no contamination at all, no CO2, no other kind of emissions. This is real technology. We have clients, we have hospital clients who have switched over to this and use it for all of their power needs.
So what do you think powers AI? That's a question for you. What do you think powers AI? You, right here. Okay, next question. Next question, please.
Hi, I'm a Coachella Valley resident. I just wanted to circle back for a second to an earlier question. Did you really compare the e-waste from your cell phone to the e-waste of a data center?
No, it was just an example of where we have so much e-waste.
So,
I'm not qualified to talk about the e-waste
so
of the
you're
data
just
center.
spewing out nonsense. Okay. My question is, the night that the agreement was approved, the council also approved Rukema Consulting for $50,000 and Urban Futures for $75,000, both directly tied to the Coachella Municipal Utility, on the consent calendar with no individual public discussion. Why were those contracts bundled into the consent calendar rather than presented alongside the main agreement as connected items?
I'm not familiar with those contracts.
What are you paying? What are we paying you for? You're supposed to be the legal counsel of the city. What are we paying you for? What are we paying you for?
Okay. So we'll have to get back to you, and on that, we don't have an answer.
Yeah.
Other question?
Sure.
The city unanimously approved a 20-year agreement with Stronghold Power on February 11th with 2 optional 5-year extensions, meaning a potential 30-year commitment. How can a moratorium be legally enforceable today when the city has already entered into a binding contractual relationship with this developer? What specific provision of that agreement allows the city to pause without triggering financial or legal consequences?
The agreement does not address something like a moratorium. The agreement,
Wait. Please refrain from speaking. Please allow the panel to answer the question. Thank you.
that is not true. The agreement specifically states that the city, at the end of the 12-month period, can exit the agreement if they don't give a notice to proceed.
Who gave the notice to proceed?
The city will determine if all of the conditions precedent have been met to their complete satisfaction. And if it's not,
Please.
the reasonable determination of your city council members will determine. You would never have an agreement to do anything if you wanted to have the kind of things you're suggesting. No one would do business with the city of Coachella if you don't have binding commitments in a contract. This contract gives very unusual flexibility to the city actually not to move forward. We negotiated that for this very purpose, so the city had the ability to carefully review this project over a 12-month period. The city also, though, needs to be fair and reasonable with Stronghold, who is spending literally millions of dollars to provide this infrastructure. That is how a private-public partnership works.
Okay. We're going to go to the next question on that side.
Okay. Hello, my name is Joanne Lamas. I'm a resident of Thermal, lifelong resident of the Coachella Valley. And first, a comment. If I got up in front of my boss and said as many I don't knows, I don't have the answers, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, I would be fired. So it's crazy that you all can sit up there on your high horse, smiling down at us, and just play in our face like that. My question is, if this has been no approved data center, then why on the Stronghold Power is this project listed first and foremost as a technology campus is a master plan data center development? They're playing in our face. So who's the liar? Is it Stronghold, who's lying to the city and saying this isn't happening? Or is it Stronghold and the city lying to us and saying this isn't happening? You have it listed in phase 1 of at least 3 data centers of 1 million square feet each being built. But you're gonna sit here and tell us that that's not part of the proposal?
I don't know where you got the impression that Stronghold is not proposing that we build the coach. No, I'm about to admit, right, what you have there has always been what we have proposed in order to avoid you, the city of Coachella, having to issue bonds and be taxed, right? So if we're going to get an electric utility at the end of the day, which we're going to create and we're going to hand it over to the city, and the city's going to get money each year out of the funds that are generated, and then they're going to own the utility at the end of it, right? It could be as early as 10, but it's going to be it couldn't be completely handed over 20 years. I mean, think about this. You don't have to pay for it. We hand over to you a fully operating utility, and at the end of the day, the city of Coachella benefits from it because they haven't been taxed, they haven't had to raise bonds. This is a wonderful opportunity. That's why the state of California put together these public-private partnerships like this, so that private companies could come in and use our funds to benefit the city of Coachella.
Okay, thank you for your comment. We're going to move to the other side.
Good evening. My name is Ray Anzaldua. I'm a Coachella Valley resident here, right here in Coachella. In American Affairs publication for the spring edition, in order to avoid tariffs, Asia decided to invest in America. I was curious because of the funding involved in this, how much is Stronghold financing, and what's the data center actually going to cost?
That's a really good question. Stronghold was hired to build a municipal utility. The municipal utility is our focus, and in order to create this partnership with the city, we have proposed data centers, which somebody will come in and they'll buy the land and they'll create their data center, and they'll be our customer. The city of Coachella's customer, Stronghold is its partner, will charge these big technology companies top rates in order for them to have their data center here. That's the plan.
Well, out of curiosity, because IID had sent out an email saying that they already secured money from the Trump administration, 17 mil, and then they're going to fund the other 17 to continue building on electricity reliability. How is this project different from that? Because it doesn't sound like we need this project in order to build reliable electricity here.
What are you referencing again? Was it IID?
Yes.
Yes, IID on the 6th of May sent out an email saying that they partnered with the Trump administration, received 17 mil, and then to match that, they had to put up another 17 mil to get the 37 or something like that.
I know specifically that that's intended to improve the infrastructure of the existing Coachella Valley, right? The IID that services. The
It's not to
existing
expand.
infrastructure, it's not this project. It's unrelated to this project.
Yes, what you're talking about is related to the IID JPA and the financing authority that the city has approved to fund improvements through bonds for the rest of the city that IID controls the service area. For decades now, IID has not really invested in the Riverside County, the cities of the South Coachella Valley, and they refuse to pay for new infrastructure. There has been a lot of kind of back and forth, even going to the legislature to try to solve this problem. Now IID has agreed that it will provide some co-funding through JPAs for Indio. Indio has already done this, and now the city of Coachella is going to do it. But that is to benefit the infrastructure that already exists for the existing residential electrical service. That IID will not pay for any infrastructure for new development. That is why the city's been doing this for 10 years, trying to come up with a strategy for new development, whether it's commercial or industrial.
And can I also add something here real quick? That money that IID received from the Trump administration, if I am correct, it was money that was already allocated during the previous administration, the Biden administration, which the Trump administration froze a lot of grants. And so now they're making this whole. I could be wrong on that, but that did happen. And this money is not just for Riverside County. It's throughout their service area, and it is for grid upgrades. The grid throughout the country is in bad shape, not just here. So their investments are being made by the federal government, state governments, to improve the grid, not just for data centers, but for our homes, our businesses.
Okay.
Claudia Gomez. I am a lifelong resident of the Coachella Valley. I've worked in education here for 10 years. I am a twice certified California naturalist, thanks to COFAM and Cactus to Cloud. I am an environmentalist, thank you, and I am a human first. I am here for the people that cannot be here. I am here for the children. I am here for the working class. I am here for the elderly, the uninformed, the people who just don't know anything about data centers. And we've already seen the facts, and we've seen that there's no public benefit for any data centers in any community. And what I'm asking our community leaders, our city leaders, is, are you with the community or are you with the money? I am calling out Figueroa, I'm calling out Virgen, I'm calling out Delgado, I'm calling out Perez, I'm calling out Oscar Ortiz, who is also a friend of the Desert Mountain. I'm asking them to pick a side. This is the line in the sand for them to give a public comment or to give their opinion on what they stand for with this.
Thank you.
Beatrice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Alex.
Thank you so much for your comment and your question, your passion. I come from a long line of educators. My mother, my brother, my sister. And I just wanted to say that this utility, the municipal utility that is part of this P3 agreement, will provide significant public benefits. And I get that. I get that as well. But there will be community benefits.
Okay.
I get that. I get that. And I understand where you're coming from. I really do. Okay. But there will be community benefits from this project, from the utility.
All right.
There will be money that this utility will. There will be money generated from the sale.
Please be quiet so we can give respect to everyone who was quiet when you were speaking.
There will be revenue generated for the city, which the city can then determine what they're going to do. There will be infrastructure brought in. There will be high-speed internet, broadband internet. That part of the city does not.
If you look, please, if you look at this agreement, The city's attorneys did a great job of extracting the benefits, right? Including 8% of all of the cash coming through from these data centers, from big tech, are going to be paying directly to the city, right? It goes to pay expenses and then the profit that we get, right? The reason that we would do this, you don't go to work to not make any money either. We all go to work to make some money. Stronghold is going to make money as the partner with the city, but the city is going to do very well. And in the future, we will be publishing the forecasts of all of these benefits to the city, and you can make your decision based on the benefits that we publish.
Okay. All right, we're going to move to the next question on this side of the room.
On this side, thank you. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Jocelyn Ayala. I'm a resident here of Coachella. I was listening to the gentleman talk. I don't know your name, sir. Yeah, you. You talked about hiring consultants to advise you of all the risks that might be happening with the program. Those consultants, who are they going to be paid by? Who is going to pay those consultants that you're talking about, sir? Is it going to be an independent consultant, or is it going to be somebody that you pay to verify your findings? I'm just curious.
They will be independent consultants.
Independent consultants, what does that mean to you when you say independent consultants? They have no ties to Stronghold, no fabrication. Because when people say they hire consultants, it's a way of legal protection. So if anything goes wrong, you can just say the consultants, they approved it. So where is Stronghold's responsibility for that?
At the end of the day, the city of Coachella will be the one that approves the environmental impact report. Consultants will prepare it, yes, they will prepare it, but the city will be the ones who approve it or deny it.
What qualifications does a city staff have to approve? If we have to hire consultants, is there city staff that has the knowledge to be able to distinguish what the consultants are saying?
The city will hire its own independent consultants as part of the CEQA review process. That's why that was retained as a city expense in the agreement, because the city wanted to have full control over that. And even though it does entail spending money, the city has complete control over those independent consultants who will review the findings, who will review the EIR.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joan Taylor. Not so close, please. Yeah, I'm the chair of the local Sierra Club, and I'm hearing a lot of good questions. I'm not sure about the answers, but I would like you to know that Sierra Club is intervening to sue the County of Imperial. To sue the County of Imperial about a large data center in the desert where it's super hot and they probably shouldn't be located, and where water's limited, where the Colorado River, which supplies a whole lot of our water, is going dry, and CBD and CWD and IID are going to be giving up a lot of water. It's not inexhaustible. So we're going to be looking at the environmental and particularly the social justice impacts here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Can you hold it? Okay. Hello? Okay. I am Bolt. I'm a community activist, distributor of mutual aid to the unhoused, sustainability advocate. I'm based in Cathedral City, but this affects the whole valley. As you can tell, there's a large heart in this room of people from here that love here. Also, guys, how are you gonna grin through, and also, let's just get two older guys up here and have them grin through their responses at the people. It's just unfortunate. So, let's see here. So there's a time for listening and a time for celebration. And all we really want to hear from you is that you're leaving, and then we will celebrate. You aren't here out of the goodness of your hearts to build up our infrastructure. If data centers were banned here, you'd run for the next vulnerable community on your list. You are here to squeeze blood and money out of our communities and enrich yourselves, the same way that the rich and ultra-wealthy have always taken from the working people of this valley. The haves and have-nots is the overarching story of this valley. We are just here to be quiet and be beholden to our wealthy overlords. I've got a question for you two guys. How much is a gallon of milk? How much is a banana? How much is a loaf of bread, gallon of gas, hour of daycare? Because it seems like you probably don't know.
I could buy a banana for 99 cents. I could buy 4 of them for $2.99 at the grocery
99
store I
cents
go
for
to.
one banana, every one. Anybody? Maybe organic. You are not a member of this valley. Stay angry. Stay angry, you all. Because this means...
Thank you. Thank you for your comments.
Yep. Yes, hello. My name is Christopher Sabo, 31 from Rancho Mirage. I'd like to present a little of who I am and then make an argument why I think this desert doesn't need a data center. I work in Indio. I am the chief operation manager of a company called Desert Moving Company and Storage. We're the largest moving and storage logistics company here in the desert. We've worked with every hotel from the Thompson to the La Quinta Resort to the JW Marriott. Some of my clients include in the Madison Club, but not limited to, Kim Kardashian, Justin Bieber, Tim Cook, and also Larry Ellison. I did both Porcupine Creek and the Indian Wells Tennis Gardens, just to preface. I don't think this is something that's healthy for the community. The Coachella Valley already has many sources of revenue streaming. I don't think finding ways to make money. Please don't sell out your land for money. It's not worth it. It's never worth it. This land is extremely valuable. It's some of the most valuable land here in the Coachella Valley, in the state of California as a whole. And I think the city should do more to protect it, to take care of its people, to build its communities, to take care of its communities, and find some other ways to make money, because it's not, destroying your land is not worth it, no matter how much money it is.
Thank you for your comments. Next comments, please. Please, we have some people waiting to ask questions. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Mindy Lee Ramos. I'm a community volunteer and a farmer in Thermal, and a mother and Coachella registered voter. My degree is in environmental studies, and usually the real effects are found 25, 50, 100 years later. And AI is still in its infancy, and we're gonna find out the real effects when it's too late. We live in a valley where the heat will be trapped. So in a valley, the hot air can't dissipate. The wind's not gonna blow in here, it's gonna be trapped, and we're gonna be like stuck in it, like a haboob. Personally, also, I don't want data centers because I don't want more surveillance. But I'm gonna appeal to you. I'm gonna appeal to you from a business perspective. In agriculture, even a couple degrees of increased heat can determine whether crops flower, survive, or fail. So imagine all the trees in the entire valley just die, okay? Increased heat can cause health problems to all living things. And windstorms, the same goes for all our pets. Children can't play outside. We can barely get in and out of our cars and get into the market, okay? So in Thermal, it's mostly agriculture and outside concerts, venues. The business depends on stable growing temperatures, conditions that it cools in the night and then you get some relief and then it heats up. But if the temperature raises too high and we're gonna have to be cooling all the time, our AC is gonna be through the roof, there's not reliable water access. Is someone going to help us with the water bills to cool, to have more AC? We have to buy water by the acre for farming, okay? So we need to maintain manageable heat. Right now, all the plants are acclimated to this. There's seasons, but it's going to get all really messed up and we're not going to be able to grow. And if you're not aware of this, a lot of farming has left California because of all of the conditions of tariffs and diesel and laborers, okay? So now we're relying on importing our food, and that's also really dangerous because now we don't have our own food source. Okay, back to Coachella Valley. Is it? Okay, well, we don't want to scare away our tourism, and I hope that city officials will please make a vow and let us know which one of you will campaign on an ordinance to ban data centers. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Hello, my name is Bridget. I live in the Coachella Valley. Many of the questions that I have were brought up, and so I will just make a public statement saying that as a mother, as a community member, as a human, as a property owner, I disapprove. I do not want the data center, and I also think that you should really take to heart the community, the impressive way everyone can collaborate and come together to oppose this and to remove people that will not oppose this. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
My name is Matthew. I am a electronics repair technician. I deal with computers every day. I know exactly that these data centers, within 4 or 5 years, they will already be outdated and need upgrading. All of that equipment within the center will have to be thrown away. What do you guys mean? What are you guys going to do with that? And then I have 2 more questions after that.
The project has not been brought forth, so we do not have that information, but I'm going to let Glenn answer.
Just gonna, with respect to regulations regarding e-waste, you're gonna have to look to the California legislature and to the county for making those determinations.
Why generate more?
Because many people in this city and throughout the country want to use these tools and these products.
And then when the data centers cause power outages during heat waves due to the increased demand on the electrical grid, will the data center be held accountable for the deaths of elderly and other people?
My mom taught me that I should smile more, so I usually am a frowny person. I think,
please.
I think your question, of course, presupposes that these terrible things are going to happen, right? And again, the state of California has put a process in place in order to avoid the very things that you're forecasting. And we are going to go through the process to avoid those.
The same exact thing that you're saying right now, that it won't happen. And it happens to them too. What about us? You guys going to guarantee that it won't happen? And when it does happen, will you be accountable?
Well, there is accountability.
If by accountable you mean to legal processes, I'm sure that legal processes are always available in the terrible events that you're describing, which we do not anticipate.
Okay.
Will Stronghold get tax cuts from the city?
Pardon?
Will Stronghold get tax cuts from the city for operating within the city limits?
The agreement's very clear about all of the things that Stronghold's receiving, and there
are no tax cuts in the agreement. None.
All right, we have time for 2 more questions before we'll end the evening. Next question, please.
Hi, I'm Gilda Brash. And first of all, thank you for holding this meeting. Really appreciate it. I'm a graduate fellow in ethical technology at the University of California Marshall School of Business, and I'm a climate tech founder. I research how data centers, along with Oxford and USC PhDs in thermodynamics, we research and we vet cooling technology globally. And when I say globally, I mean across the whole world. So to say that it's a closed loop system is just touching the surface of this. So I want to raise something. I have a comment and then I will have a question. So, and first of all, council, myself and the other PhDs, we're here to help. I appreciate everybody's comments here, but if you really want to drill down on vetting the proposal, I'll email you all. We're here to help. So the way data centers cool their chips is changing very fast. The current ceiling, as Stronghold probably knows, is 1,000 watts per chip. NVIDIA's coming out with Blackwell. That's 1,500 watts per chip. There is not even a data center existing that can cool that kind of chip right now. And the industry is moving towards the new tech called two-phase liquid cooling, direct on chip. Every major technology company, and I'm talking about NVIDIA, Google, AWS, all of them, they have all committed to sustainability standards for 2030. So when the city says you're partnering with Stronghold and then you're going to lease out these centers, none of these big tech people will partner with you if this center does not meet the sustainability standards that they're looking for. So, and it's true, the study that was brought up here, you all can Google it yourself, March 30th, Google CNN, it's a University of Cambridge study. Data centers do emit up to 16 degrees more heat. That's in a normal climate. We are in a desert. So my question is, what is the exact cooling technology in this facility? And again, I can give you my email and you can email me back. Can it run not only today's chips, because from my evaluation, you're already obsolete, but will it be able to run future chips by the time this is built? And what independent heat modeling study has been done for a desert site? Thank you.
Great question.
The heat studies will be done during the environmental impact report. Additionally, and I appreciate your comments about sustainability. That is one of the goals that we have, is to make this a data center above all others in its sustainability. I'm trying to. So.
Shh, please allow him.
And we welcome the input, not just of you, but of everybody else here. We need that input. We want to build a top of the line. We want to build a top of the line facility here. Now, you're right that nobody will touch it if we're not meeting the sustainability standards, right? But that's going to be on them to work with us on this process as we build these out. It's not going to be something that we build and say, there it is. What's that? Yeah, we're not building the data centers, right? We're going to partner with whomever, they're going to build it. What?
So, are you guys the liars? Are you the liars back there, you two, or is it you guys?
I overspoke, right? No. There will be a full CEQA review, the environmental impact report. The city has every opportunity, if they do not like this, to stop it. But thank you for your question, and I do want to touch base with you afterwards, please.
Yes, thank you. Okay. All right, this is our final question tonight. Okay.
Okay, I might get emotional on this one, but this message is for Denise, for the city council, for Denise, for Yadira, for Frank and Stephanie. I have walked the streets and knocked on the doors to get your vote. Not for every single one of them, but you know, Denise, and you know, Frank, I knocked the doors for my community and I said, if you vote for them, they're gonna protect you. They're gonna care for you. They are going to pass the laws and they're gonna change things to get better, okay? I walked and my daughter was on her bike right next to me and I kept knocking on doors for months. Stephanie, Yadira, we have worked in different projects. Denise, Frank, you helped us stop the county so we can have Ranchos and Vendors United movement. If anybody knows how to stop this, it's them because they helped us. They helped us stop. They helped us stop when they were gonna hurt us. So now I'm asking you, Denise, Frank, Yadira, and Stephanie, help us support our community. Listen to us. Listen to each and every single one. We can't be wrong, Denise. Tú sabes. Frank, Yadira, and Stephanie, you know what to do. If anyone knows how to stop this, it's them. They have helped me. In our community, move forward. So you know what to do. I'm like shaking. I'm shaking. Because at the end of the day, I respect them. I respect them because I have walked with them and I listened to everything they told me and I believed. And right now I'm very upset and it hurts me. Por favor, les pido de corazón, stop this. Les pido de corazón. Les pido de corazón, please.
Shh. Let her
I
finish,
ask you
please.
from the bottom of my heart, stop this. You guys know how to stop this. You've done it before. Let's do it again. Come on, let's stop all this. You know it's not good for our community. You know it. You know it. I know you.
Thank you for your comment. All right, please. Thank you for your comments. All right. As we wrap up tonight, I sincerely want to thank. This is not a publicly noticed meeting. All right, based on the respect for everyone's time and that it is not a legal requirement, I've been notified. So do we want to stay an extra 10 minutes and let them speak? All right, we will stay until everyone who's already standing gets a chance, but please, that's it. Next question, please.
Buenas noches, ¿me escuchan? Ok, buenas noches. Primero que nada voy a hablar en español porque todas las personas que no pudieron asistir a esta junta no pudieron venir y los que van a estar más impactados por este proyecto no están aquí esta noche. La comunidad de Coachella y la gente de Coachella no quiere este proyecto. Este proyecto no va a pasar y este es un aviso a todos los políticos vendidos que igual como Claudia, todas sus familias tocaron las puertas para sus campañas y están tomando estas decisiones y con este acuerdo con Stronghold para hacer estos centros de datos, qué desgracia ustedes, en verdad unos vendidos que son. Este proyecto no puede seguir y no va a pasar. El acuerdo con Stronghold tiene que terminar y tiene que ser abandonada. Y con eso la ciudad, el municipio, consejo, tiene que hacer una ordenanza para prohibir todo el desarrollo y en el futuro todos los desarrollos de los centros de datos. Este proyecto no va a beneficiar a la comunidad. Lo que va a pasar es que cada una de las personas que viven en la ciudad de Coachella, sus pagos de luz y sus pagos de agua va a subir. Eso es lo que va a pasar. La infraestructura de la ciudad eléctrica se puede mejorar, pero no con centros de datos. No es necesario un plan o un proyecto de centros de datos.
Gracias. Next question, please.
Okay. Hi, my name is Adrian. I'm from DMHS, Students for Change. I'm a high school junior, and I just want to ask you a couple questions. To begin with, I just want to ask you, why do you even propose a data center if no one asked for it in the first place? And why do you not listen to the people? Because everyone clearly doesn't want it.
All right.
Thank you for your question and thank you for being here. It's awesome to see someone so young up here speaking. I've got 2 kids myself, and I love seeing young people involved in it.
All right, please. Ladies and gentlemen, if we're going to stay to listen to the last questions, the Boys and Girls Club needed us out of this room at 8 o'clock so that they can go home. We've asked them to stay, so please give us 5 more minutes.
So the City of Coachella put out the RFP looking for a partner to work with them on the municipal utility. The only way that that works is with some large load in that area. You have a 20-year agreement that when that is over, by the time you have your own family, probably, the City of Coachella will now own this utility. That Stronghold is basically taking the risk and financing. The only way that that happens is, again, if there's a large load customer in this track where we're looking.
But if nobody wants it, why are you still pursuing it?
Say the second part again, I'm sorry.
Why, if nobody wants it, why are you still pursuing it?
Nothing has been submitted yet as far as the application for the data center.
All right, thank you. Let's go.
Hello, I'm Allison. Hi, I'm Allison. I'm a lifelong resident of Coachella Valley, and I grew up here in Coachella. The city attorney made a statement earlier that many people want this. I just want to check something, like how many folks here want this? How many folks here oppose this? Raise your hands. I mean, if it were a simple vote, I think we know what wins, right? But besides that, I just had a question. Hopefully, luckily I was able to speak to close us out. But hearing all this, a question for the city, what's your next steps to put this, what you've heard today and the people who oppose it, into action? What are you going to do? What are some concrete examples of how you're going to synthesize this into some meaningful action? And then for the Stronghold folks, seeing all this opposition here, how can you ethically put a proposal in?
All right. The next actions would be if there's an application, the due diligence process happens. But right now, no comment. All right. I'd like to thank you all for being here tonight. We're out of time tonight, So I do need to respect that we are renting the space from another organization. So as we close up tonight, I would like to sincerely thank you. So whether you came here tonight with questions, concerns, skepticism, or simply wanting more information, I hope you know that your participation matters, and we will be leaving the survey open for a week and sharing that information with city officials. So thank you all for being here tonight, and drive safely.